Tell, Cockerel. He's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tell, Cockerel. Leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Jose gets himself around, always talking Spurs wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong every time I play along? Tell, Cockerel. The show is so chilled, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel. The show is so chill, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tell Cockerel. It's the International Break Predictions League competition results. That was a mouthful. Kind of different this week because there were so many to go through. I had work this afternoon. Well, I was working today and didn't have time this afternoon. I knew I wouldn't have time this afternoon, should I say. So I decided to do an evening show, and possibly the evening show give a chance to some of the American people that play this competition a chance of being here live as well, because 10 o'clock in the evening is probably anywhere between 4 o'clock and so anywhere between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock on their Monday afternoon. As for the Australian brothers, yeah, the people down under, it's possibly going to be like 5 o'clock in the morning for them, between 5 and 8 in the morning for our Australian people, which it may not well go out to them, but it goes out to the Europeans. So I hope you're all well. Nice to see you here. Good evening to you all. In the chat, I can see there's a few of you here already. Ellie was here like 9 hours ago. Good evening, Ellie. If you're still here, although this was like 9 hours ago, Ellie. Chris Peters says Jose needs to give us his thoughts on Vinay's statement on Spurs TV. I will do if you want me to. Scott Conover says hello, Jose in chat. Good morning to you, Scott. Hope you're well. Judas here says Jesse's raid. Big up, Jose and the Cockerel crew. Good evening, Drew. I hope you are well, and thank you for those that have come over from Jesse's show. I think you had the Scotland game on, didn't you? I think. I've been playing football tonight, so I got in not long ago from playing football as well. Cooper says, big up, Jose, and all in the chat. Good evening to you, Cooper. Daz says, JSO Raid, also big up, Jose. I hope you are well this evening. And chat, good evening, Daz. I hope you're well. Jess is here. It says Jesse Raid. Good evening, Jess. I hope you are well as well. Carl Simpson's come from there as well, says Jesse Raid. Good evening, Carl. I hope you're well. Archer's there. Says, big up, Jose, in the chat. Good evening to you, Archer. Shemtam says, good evening, Mr. Bossman. Jose, hope you're well this evening, sir. I am, sir. I am. Chris, just before I give the results out, in the meantime, what I will say, I will answer your question. What I will say to you guys, first and foremost, is how do you think you've done? If any of you've written all your 25 scores down, you've done really well because it took me absolutely ages to go through it and I had them all typed in front of me. So it'd be interesting to see how you all felt that you got on. Chris, just for you, mate, the Vinay thing. Before Vinay did his thing that was released today, right? My thoughts on it are, my thoughts were, after Levy's left and stuff like that, and we've done a few shows, and people seem to be happy and that. I then had a thought about it, and I thought to myself, okay, Levy's gone, but Enoch are still here, right? And Enoch have been here for 25 years. Enoch was the wagon that Levy used to do and plot and do everything he needed to do. However, with Levy already going, right, Enoch is still here. And my thoughts kind of turned to, right, if they really thought this about Daniel Levy, why would you wait 24 years, right, before you ousted him? If you really, really, really had the football club at heart, right? If you had the football club at heart, then surely, and Tottenham was your passion, and Tottenham was your love, as we're all led to believe now, then surely you would have done something a lot earlier, and not waited 24 years. They're the thoughts that are running through my head at the moment. It's all great. We want our owners to love our club, and we want our owners to love the team as much as what we do. But to me, I'm starting to think I've had thoughts to myself as well, thinking to myself, you know what? What is it they're actually trying to do? Because they could have ousted Levy, or they could have made these changes a long time ago. It doesn't have to be now. So Vinay coming out. Vinay is a charmer. Vinay is he's a people's person. He's not afraid to speak to people. We knew this about him coming to the club, that we'll probably get more chats with Vinay than what we ever did with Levy. And Vinay's only been here a short while, and we've already seen him twice in the space of a few months. So to me, my thoughts are just, from the bottom of my heart, what I would like is someone who has the passion for our club. I mean, the same as what the supporters have got. I have passion for the club, but I don't have the billions and billions that's needed, to buy the club out. I don't think any of us have got the billions and billions that's needed to buy the club out. But if we had people that owned us, that showed passion the same as what the fans do, then that would probably go a long way. There's still debt owed on the stadium, obviously, on the training ground and everything like that. There's still debt, and that debt was associated with the club. It wasn't associated with Enoch, because they financed everything, so everything's been financed. So you owe, and owe. Yeah, I know that it's very favourable rates of 1% or 1.2% or whatever it was. They got over a 35 or 25-year period. But what you want is you just want it paid off, don't you? I mean, take it for instance, my team in Spain, Deportivo. When Lendoiro left, who was the chairman who robbed our club blind, and hence why we had to sell everything, and we then tumbled down the leagues, and we're trying to resurrect ourselves there. But we brought in a private bank, or we brought a bank in to buy the club and buy the debts, and then the club had to pay it back. And it was something like an 18-year plan, or a 20, no, might even a 28-year plan, a 28-year plan to pay back on favourable terms Deportivo, and they've managed to do it in 9 years. Instead of the favourable terms, they've accelerated their payments back, and they've managed to do it in 9 years. So, to me, Vinay coming out today, nice chap. He's a plausible chap, you know. He likes to have a chat and that, but to me, in the back of my mind, it's just what, like, I'm just thinking to myself, why didn't they do this sooner? If they really love the club so much, why didn't they do this sooner? I'm not sure whether that gives you a full answer there, Chris, but they were just my thoughts about it anyway. Right, I did ask a question, and Julie's given me a number. Julie says she thinks she got 20 points. Let me see. Let me see what Julie's got. No, I haven't got you for 20, unless I've made a mistake. I have. I've just found my mistake, Drula. So whatever you've got, it is an extra point for you. I'll tell you what, I found another mistake as well. No, these ain't mistakes. Wow, it hasn't saved. Oh no. Hold on. What's going on here? Oh, sorry, just get me. Ah, right. That's orange. I hope this is saved correctly on my. I can see, but I'm sure that I changed these because the points are correct. Oh, steward's inquiry, Jose. Something I had Skullduggery's trying to get these onto the back today, so let me see whether me adding these points make any difference. Bear with me a second, peoples. Just need to add the points to these. This is the only game I think I've missed. Right. 1, 2, 9, 10, 11. Do you know what? I've got the points completely wrong. Anyway, I'll have to change this as I'm going along. Drewley, you said you got 20 points, and do you know what you have? 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Drewley, you have 20 points. I have a feeling that I've done some people out of a point and some people out of 3 points. I'm going to resurrect this. So bear with me a second. I'm just going to update it. I missed out one result, and that's why they look the way they do. Right, that's 3 points for that person. And then it's 23 for that one. But we were having problems trying to upload these in the back today. So this person down here's got an extra point. This person here's got an extra point. When I bring up on screen, I'll be able to see whether the one you've got on screen is the actual correct one, and whether this hasn't saved correctly. 20, 18, 20. There's a point there. There's another point to be given out there. Right, so this is gonna hold on. This will change I just need to have a look at this back of this. Hold on. Yeah, it's done wrong. Okay, bear me a second. Let me hide that one again. Right, I need to add some points. So this person gets an extra 3. I will be with you in a second, people. This person gets an extra 1. This person gets an extra 1. Archer, you have got 24 points. You didn't have, you have now. When I'll show you in a second, you'll understand what I've done. Alan, I've got to give him some points. So he gets that, and he goes to that number. Jess, Edem, and Drill are all owed a point. Jess, Edem, and Drula, I owe you all a point. So where's Drula? Drula's there. And who was the other person? Edem, I owe a point to. Where's Edem? Edem! Where's Edem? He's there. Right, it will affect the tables, but I can't change the tables. But if I change them now, they're ready for later on this week. So I'm up to date. Tot Spurs is owed a point as well. Tot Spurs is owed a point. And now I owe Ellie and Matthew a point each as well. So Ellie's owed a point. I owe Matthew a point. Who else? Ronnie, I owe 3. Paul G is owed 3. Ronnie and Paul G. And Paul G is owed 1 as well. Where's Paul G? Paul G. So I'm going to, when I read them out, you'll understand. I'm nearly done now. Batshit mad. I missed 1 result. That's the problem. I missed 1 bloody result. Right, I need to find Ryan G because he's owed. He's owed as well. So 3 points for Ryan G. And is that it? No, I've got a couple more. Kuva and Vindaloo are both owed a point each. Kuva. And Vindaloo is owed a point. Right, I'm going to have to read out the scores. Right, so sorry, people, I made a mistake. Like I said, we was having problems with trying to get this in the back earlier. Drula, you have got 20 points. I saw Archer say he's got 24. Archer, you have got 24. May not show on here, but you'll realise why. I didn't write them down, says Carl, but I don't think I did. Carl didn't do great, he says. Kuva, I couldn't be bothered to check mine, but I always do badly on the big bonus weekends. Kuva, let me see where Kuva is. Okay, Kuva's done badly, he says. Colin Blackshaw, thank you for being a member for 14 months this evening, Jose. I hope you're well. You made the show, which is the main thing. Chris is saying that it's exactly my thoughts. I said, why? I always said, why wait the 24 years? Shemtam says, there is so much about this that just doesn't add up. Enoch are trying to save face, but throwing him under the bus, even though he's innocent. Carl says he fully expects naming rights anytime now. I do believe Spurs are not for sale at the right price. Chris says Enoch will look at a 5-year plan to win things, buy top players to show the club is in a great position and sell it for 6 billion or more. Buy me the great players, Chris. Buy me the great players. Colin Simpson's come in and says he's got 18 points maybe. You haven't got 18 points. I can tell you that now. Shemtam says, if I'm in double figures this week, then I'll pass out from shock. Shemtam. Let me have a look, Shemtam. You said you will pass out if you've got double figures, Shemtam. All right, all I can say is, do we have Peter? Peter's not here. Peter, the paramedic from Australia, is not here when he's needed. He's not here when he's needed because Shemtam is going to be not well. Ronnie says, big up Jose. And Ronnie says he got 26 points. Ronnie, you did get 26 points. Archer says, I should have 24 points. Archer, you have got 24 now that I've had to relook at what I've done. Shenta says, I heard Delhi might be going to Wrexham. Is this true? I don't know, but he's a free agent at the moment. It would be nice to see Delhi back and playing for his mental health. Alison, good evening, Alison. I hope you're well. It's been a while. I hope you're well, Alison, you and the family. Good evening to you. Neil says, hello, everyone. I have no idea where are in the show, but have the charts been put up yet? No, I've only just tried to rectify everything. Side Dancer says, evening, everyone. Good evening, Si. And Archer says, Joe Lewis never had ambition, but he hasn't been involved for a while. I believe his kids, Viv and Charlie, are supposedly a lot more ambitious. We shall see. Ed M's here, says evening, Jose in chat. Right. So I've had about 3 or 4 of you tell me what you think you got. This is going to be a mouthful. That's all I can say. When I give you the results, it's going to be a mouthful. The average points this week, before I give you out the scores, the average points this week are 17.1 is the average this week. Has anyone else got any idea of how many points they may have got? We've got some people in the chat. I think 3 people in the chat are correct. That was Drula, Ronnie, and Archer. You're all correct. Everyone else that's giving me a figure, you are incorrect. So you'll have to wait and see yours. But does anyone else want to, because we do this like silly thing, don't we? Does anyone want to tell me what they think they got before I bring them up? And bearing in mind that on the ones that I bring up, which are in the back of the show, which are the back of the show at the moment, I can't do anything with them at the moment, but I will read out what everyone's got now that I've changed it. Day says, I'm guessing 12. Day, let me see Day. Let me see where Day Cara is. No. No, Day Cara, you didn't hit 12. Kuva says 9. No, you haven't got 9. And Neil says he hasn't got a clue how many he's got. Right. We might as well start. This is going to be a right mind blower for me because I have to remember all the teams' names. So, right, page 1. Right, let me take away the comments box because if I take away the comments to show in the comments box, you can all see. Right, first and foremost, the error on this is, do you see, there's 2 pages by the way, but do you see the third game in between, the third game in, it was between Mo and Renaissance Mons. It was actually 0-2, but I never put any figures in there. It appears that I saved it, sent it across to be cropped, and I didn't add the figures for the third game. So basically, the third game, I've now added the figures. So I'll read what I've got in front of me, and you lot, I'll have to play along with it, right? And then I'll tell you what the final scores are. For game one was, here we go, this is where it was Donnerfeld Vienne versus Retz, and it ended up being a 2-0 home victory. And for that, the greens were scored by Jose, Graham, Daza, Peter, Kuva, and Wayne Bonner, all correctly predicted and got a green, so 3 points for the first game. Everyone else in orange predicted a home victory, so you all got a point for that. Game number 2 was Gomel 2 versus Denepa Mogliev, and that ended up as a 2-3. 2-3. And for that, we have correct scores from Razzle Dazzle and Carl. They're the only 2 people that predicted the correct scoreline of 2-3. Everyone else on page 1 who's got an orange beside them predicted predicted an away victory. And in page 2, Vindaloo predicted an away victory. Game number 3. This is where I didn't put the scores in, but I have now. And for this, game number 3, I'm going to read out who got the points here so you can work it out. But correct fixture, correct score, it was from Jose, Allen, Ronnie, Paul G, Ryan G, all correctly predicted 0-2. And I've amended it, but you can't see it on this screen on this screen. People that correctly predicted an away victory and got a point are Graham, Archer, Jess, Ed M, Drula, Totspurs, Ellie, Matthew, Kuva, and Vindaloo. I'm just showing the second page there. Vindaloo had a 0-3, so he gets a point there. So that's where the difference on the points are. So when I read the points at the end, what everyone got, you'll understand. The league table, I've had to change them on the league table, but the league table I've got here will be without these scores being put in there. But on my laptop, they're correct. Game number 4. Game number 4 was between CA Chocorosi versus Ciudad Nueva SC. And in this game, the correct scoreline came in from Jose. And that was it. Just me predicted the correct scoreline of 0-3. But the away victory, Graham scored a point, Archer scored a point, Alan, Jess, Ed M, Drula, Shentam Carl, Tot Spurs, Daz Reynolds, Ellie, Ronnie, Ryan G, Kuva, Vindaloo, and on page 2, we shall have Chris Peters, I believe. Yeah, Chris Peters also got that correct, so therefore scored a point. Game number 5. Oh my God, game number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Game number 5 was between Sloboda versus Celik Zenica, and that ended up in a 1-1 draw. The correct score lines for this game came in from Archer, Allen, Totspurs, Ronnie, Kuva, and Vindaloo. Everyone else that had a point, people that got a point were Chris Peters, Daz Reynolds, Side Dancer, all picked up a point because they predicted a draw, but it was a different draw. But the correct ones were in green. Game number 6 was between Fratria and Ludogorets 2. And this game ended up being... No, I did it the other way around. Sorry, the game should be Coritiba versus Ferrovaria. And this game finished 4-0. And everyone that predicted a home win are in orange on the first page. So picked up a point. And on here, everybody that predicted on this page got a point as well for a home win. But no one correctly predicted the 4-0. A bit like the next game. The next game was between Fratria versus Ludogorets 2, which ended up being 5-0. And all those people that predicted a home victory, you've all got a point in orange. No one predicted the correct score. And then on page 2, the people that predicted a home victory all got a point each. The next game was between Forge and HFX Wanderers, and that ended up with a 1-0 win for Forge. And the correct scoreline came in from Scott Colliver, Matthew, and that's it. Scott Colliver and Matthew. And then everyone down here in orange picked up a point for the home win. And all those on this page also picked up the home win. The one that decimated a lot of people is this very next game, which was between Deportes Temuco versus Copiapo. Deportes Temuco versus Copiapo. Now, this game ended up in a 2-2 draw. And the only person that predicted the correct score and the only person that scored any points in this game was Nita. She predicted a 2-2 draw. Let me tell you a bit about this game, because I was following this game, because I had 1-2. who are they called? Deportes Temuco, right, had a player sent off. I'm sure this was the game I was looking at. Deportes Temuco had a player sent off, right? And is this the right game or am I looking slaz? I'm not sure what this is. It's one of the two all games. So it's either this one or it's the one after. I think it's this one. They had a player sent off. Copiapo were 2-0 up, and the team equalised or got one goal in the 85th minute, and then scored an equaliser in the 90+ minute. But it is what it is. Nita is the only person that scored 3 points for that game. The next game was between Dalian Kun City versus Dingnam Gangnelan, and that ended up with a 2-1 victory, home win. And the correct scoreline for this one came in from Jess, Carl, Ellie, Nick, Colin B, Kuva. David and Ian all correctly predicted the 2-1 victory. Anyone else in orange, you know the score. You went for a home victory and therefore got a point. The next game was between Llaneros and Tolima, and it ended up a 1-0 victory for Llaneros. And the correct scoreline, Scott Colliver. And home victory points for a point went to Richard, Side Dancer, Ellie, Nick, Colin B on that page. It's a low scoring game point wise. And on this page, you had a point for David Ian, Wayne Bonner, and Ryan Trestane. Next game was Orient versus Bijela Bordeaux, and that ended up in a 1-1 draw. And we have 4 greens on this page. So correct predictions came in from Alan, Edem, Nita, Kuva. And is that it? Was there anyone else? Let me have a next page. And Vindaloo all correctly predicted that scoreline of 1-1. I told you these were a mouthful, didn't I? God. Right. The last game that we did Thursday and the 12th game was Slavia Prague under 20s 2, Seshka Bodivici B 2. So it was a 2-2 draw. And in this one, the correct score came in from Edem, Razzle Dazzle, Carl, and that was it, I think. Yeah. And that was it. And then a point for a draw, although they had 1-1, was Drula. Drula picked up a point for that game. The next game after that was Hellerup versus Thisted. And this also ended in another draw, a 1-1 draw. And the correct scoreline for this game came in from Archer, Ronnie, Paul G, Peter, and I think it might be Vindaloo. And Vindaloo correctly predicted the 1-1 draw. Everybody else has predicted the draw, which is 2 people, which was Graham and Ian, both picked up a point each. The next game after that was Dulwich Hamlet versus Welling. Dulwich Hamlet won the game 3-1, and correct scorelines came in from Graham, Archer, and then the rest of the people that have got oranges there predicted a home win. And on page 2, everybody that predicted got an orange. Everyone here that predicted got an orange on that page as well, so picked up a point. The next game after that was Salpa versus PK35. And the scoreline for this one was 1-2. And the correct scoreline for this one came in from Jess, Richard, Nick, Kuva. And that was it. They're the people that got the correct prediction. Anybody else that has got an orange predicted an away win, but not the correct score. The following game was between Rouen versus Châteauroux, and that ended up 1-2. And the correct scoreline here came in from Drula. But there was also a point for Shemtam here, and there was a point for Peter. And on page 2, that was it. No other points. Yep, no other points there at all. Biggest scoreline of the week in the next game, the game that was played out in Germany, between, here we go, VfB Oldenburg versus Hannoversche SC, ended up 6-1 home victory. And for this, not surprisingly, nobody predicted a 6-1, but all the people in orange all predicted a home victory and all scored a point. And on page 2, just to prove it's there, nobody got the correct prediction, but the people got a point for that one. The next game ended up was between Dorogi versus Biseki, and ended up 2-1 win for Dorogi. And the greens for this game went to Jose, Graham, Archer, Jess, Ed M, Carl, Richard, Totspurs, Ellie, Ronnie, Nick, Ryan G, Vindaloo, and David Shear. Everybody else with an orange scored a point for that game. The next game after that was a game played in Scandinavia between, I think it's Scandinavia, between between Thor Akurei and Fjolnir. Ended up being 2-1 this game. And the correct scoreline here came in from Alan on page 1. Everybody else had a home victory, got a point. And on page 2, David Shear, correct scoreline of 2-1, picked up the points. We then move on to Italy, and the game in Italy ended up 1-0 between Arezzo and Vispesaro, ended up 1-0. And in this game, the correct scorelines came in from Ed M, Scott Colliver, Ronnie, Colin B. Anyone else that's orange there picked up a point for a home win. And then on page 2, no one. But everyone got an orange on page 2 that predicted, but nobody got the green. The game after that was in Portugal, I believe. Yeah. Estoril 0, Santa Clara 1 in this game. And the correct score lines came in from Alan and Dekaru. Both correctly predicted the 0-1. The other people, there was only 3 people that correctly predicted an away victory and got a point, and that would have been Drula, Shemtam, and Nick on this page. And on the other page, Chris Peters correctly predicted an away victory. And then we move on to my beloved Deportivo de La Coruña versus Sporting Gijón. Ended up in a 1-0 victory for Deportivo. And the people that correctly predicted the 1-0 are Scott Colliver and Colin Blackshaw. Correctly predicted the 1-0 victory. And on this page, nobody did, but most of them got oranges because they went for the home victory. So anyone else in orange, you went for a home win, but not the correct score. The penultimate game was Solentuna versus Orebro, and that ended up being a 3-1 home victory. And the person that correctly predicted the 3-1 was Carl, Ellie, Nick, Ryan G. And on page 2, was there anyone on page 2? Yes, there was Vindaloo, Ian, and Chris Peters. All picked up green 3s for getting the correct score. Anyone else in orange, it's because you correctly predicted a home win. This last game, two people picked up points, and that is Nita for a 1-1 draw. It ended up being a 2-2 draw between Sham and Crien. It was a 2-2 draw, but Nita predicted a 1-1 draw, so picked up a point. And on page 2, Chris Peters predicted a 1-1 draw, so picked up a point. So basically, that's where we are. But it does change things because I'm going to read you out. So let me have a look. Not a clue. Can't even tell you what the games were. Take some stab at 16, said M. I haven't even. What did you say? Neil says, it's the same for anyone else. Is it the same for anyone else? 13 points, considering everyone in the talk is in the 20s, then I guess not good. Shentam, the average was 17 this week. Colin Blackshaw says 19, happy with that. These are not the final scores, right? I'm going to give you the final scores on the edge because I can't update them on here, but I've updated them on my laptop. Edem says 21, that's all right, don't mind that at all. Neil says no points for anyone. Archer says, what's Archer saying? That's the one a lot of people are missing a point. There are some great scores for a lot of people. Good job, everyone. The man of the week this week, and I know he doesn't like blowing his own trumpet, but I'm going to bring up his comment in a minute. I must have added the second lot of predictions too late, as it appears they didn't get put in. Neil, I didn't receive your second lot of predictions. I didn't see them anywhere. I went back and I kept checking the stream and I didn't see it anywhere. Archer says I had the same as you, Jose. I followed this. Was annoying. Neil says I couldn't go against Welling. They were 15-minute walk from my old house. Archer says, oh, that 6-1 game, I put 5-1. Checked at half time, it said 4-1. I wanted them to slow down the score, he says Archer. Neil says, I will catch up with everyone on the next prediction day on the 11th. And he says, cheers all. Right, I'll come back to the prediction day in a minute, but I'm just trying to see. There was a person in the chat, and I'm hoping this person's still here. Right. This is the man of the week for you. Scored 27 points this week. Top scored. Says, I couldn't be bothered to check mine, but I always do badly on the big bonus weekends. Well, Mr. Coover, this is your comment that you placed at 10:08. So that would have been some 36 minutes ago. You placed that comment, Coover, and Coover, you have absolutely smashed it out of the park. You scored 27 points. Right, I'm going to read them from top to bottom because I've had to change the scores for some people. Right, I'm not going to change the table, but I've changed the table on my laptop. But just to let you know, the points are as follows. Right, Jose 24. Graham 21. Archer 24. Alan 21. Jess 23. Edem 22. Drula 21. Razzle Dazzle 12. Shentam 13. Carl 25. Richard 16. Totspurs 20. Scott C 19. Side Dancer 9. Daz Reynolds 11. Nita 17. Ellie 17. Matthew 5. Ronnie 26. Not a bad shout, Ronnie. So you got 25 from Carl, 26 from you, Ronnie. But the man of the week is Coover, I'm afraid. He got 27. Paul G 18. Nick 20. Jack 3, but only predicted 4 games. Ryan G 20. Colin B 19. Day 9. Peter 11. Coover 27. Man of the week. Vindaloo 26. David 19. Vindaloo's done well. He got 26. David 19. Ian 18. Neil 4. Chris Peters 16. Wayne Bonner 14. And Ryan 12. So they're the points for this week. As I said, apologies because it appears that when we saved it, or when I saved it, it didn't save the Mon the third score. But I have changed it, everyone. I've changed it, so that's what I was able to read the results to you now and the points that you've got now. Cooper says, I knew what I scored really, Jose. I was just faking being humble while I strutted around the room calling you all my bitches. Superb, Coos, superb. And there were a lot of people saying well done to Kuva in the chat. And Carl Simpson says Arsenal always second Vinders. Carl Simpson says Kuva, I know, mate. I'm humbled by your greatness. Right. So the league table doesn't read like it does for you guys, but I've changed the points around, but not here. But I have changed them. So on my laptop, it will show the correct league tables. They haven't changed that much, so we shall go with what we've got. And the table, we had a new player last week. Let me just take away the comments again. Right, we had a new player last week, which was Matthew. Matthew's actually got an extra point here, so he's gone to 5 points. But I changed it on my laptop, but not here, because I didn't realise the mistake until I've come on. But here, Matthew is straight into 39th place. There must be someone missing because we got 42 players. Right. There is a 42nd player who would be happy to be 42nd. I'm going to stop this banner a second. He's happy to be 42nd because he never wants to win, and that's Ben. So just to show you, we've got 42 players now. Matthew is a new player. Anyone in green, it means you moved up the table. So Paul G has gone into 35th, but it might be higher because he got extra points. Wayne Bonner is into 34th. Day is up to 32nd. And then, dun, 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 the higher up the leagues, 29th onwards, is Chris Peters up into 25th. Richard up into 23rd. Scott Colliver up to 22nd. It's still tight. Look at the points. 1 point, 2 points between everyone here. Ryan G is up to 19th. Ed M into 18th. David Shear into 17th. Tot Spurs into 16th. Nick into 15th. Drula 13th. Colin B has jumped into 12th. Ronnie has jumped into 10th with his big score this week. Jess with her big score has gone jumping up into 8th. Carl 6th. Graham 5th. Kuva 4th with his man of the week. It's taken him straight up to 4th place. Archer has gone into 3rd, and the top 2 remain unaltered. Although that's changed because I have 61 and Vindaloo has 58. Because Vindaloo, I had to give him a point for that game that I missed, and I had to give myself 3. Archer has been given 1, so he's 51. Kuba's on 49 now rather than 48. Graham is on 47. Let me see if there's any other differences. Jess is now on 45. So alphabetically, Jess just jumped above Nita. Ronnie, has Ronnie changed? No, Ronnie scores the same. Razzle Dazzle's the same. Colin B and Drula has jumped. So Drula, you're on 42 points. So by virtue of that, Drula, you're actually really in 11th. And Razzle Dazzle and Colin B dropped down the space each. No, sorry, tell a lie. Alan got 3 points. So he's on 43. So he jumps up. So it'd be after Ronnie, it'd be Alan, then Drula, then Razzle Dazzle, then Colin B. Nick's remained on the same points. Tot Spurs is on 39 points, not 38. David's correct. Ed M jumps up a spot from there because he's on 38 points. Oh no, he remains the same. Sorry, because Ryan G's got 40. Shentam and Ellie. Ellie's 37 points, so Ellie jumps up a spot as well. Scott is the same, Rich is the same. Anyway, I've changed everyone's points, so the league table looks correct on my laptop, but there wasn't that many changes for me, but that is it for the league tables. Let me see what your comments are, because what you'll notice, and I had it running down the bottom, but what you might notice, and I have to bring it back up again, won't I, is the show for this weekend. The show for this weekend's predictions is going to be on Thursday. Thursday at, I don't remember what time it was again, don't I? Thursday at 5, did I say 5 o'clock? Yeah, Thursday at 5 o'clock. So this week's predictions will be on Thursday at 5 o'clock. I'm away with work Friday, so I can't do a show on Friday because I'll be out and about with work. So I'm having to do this earlier, a day earlier. So I will do it on Thursday the 11th at 5 p.m. So hopefully you can all join and come and put your predictions in for game week 4. Now, what I will say for game week international that we just had, you've seen, sorry, the averages have changed because I had to change the results, didn't I? I'll tell you what the averages are now. The average for this week, I know it's 17.11. Okay, so the averages have remained the same. But what I will say is that by looking at the league table, it's got tight, it's sandwiched up and that. But the noticeable thing is that people that didn't predict are now way behind or will be way behind. So they're going to have some catching up to do. It's interesting because we had people in the show last week. Let me see who's dropped down. So we had people in the show last week. Everybody on this page took part, right? So I've got no issues here. All the points here are correct because everyone in this page took part. On this page, we missed James this week. James didn't come on and do his James didn't come and do his. We also missed out on Mikey Romero. Mikey was there on this Thursday show, the first one, and Mikey said, I'm in class all day, I'll post them in afterwards. He never posted them in at all. So they're the two noticeable people that didn't take part. And because they didn't take part, they've dropped into where 30th and 33rd. Everybody else, underneath from Paul G, apart from Matthew, obviously, underneath Paul G, these people didn't take part. But Paul G's also missed a week as well, so has done well. So Alan is here. Good evening to you, Alan. Alan, there's your score. Alan, this week you scored. Because I didn't put the second result in, Alan. Alan, you actually scored 21 points. Forget that 18. You scored 21 points, Alan, this week. And the 21 points that you scored this week, Alan, put you in, it says there, 14th. But, Alan, the good news is you got 3 extra points that I've not put on there. So basically, Alan, you're not 14th. You're actually 11th. So well done, Alan, on your points this week. You scored 21 points and you're up to 11th. Here we go. What are these randomers saying? I know they're starting on me again. Fantastic. These people starting me all the time. Always start on me. Right. Let me see what they're saying. Let me just get out of that because I can see stuff coming on the little banner down there, but I can't see what the comments are. Right. Looks like Jose's cheating. Chris Peters says, looks like I'm cheating. Dad says, I'll be putting out an FPL for Champions League out pin this week sometime, Jose. Yeah, whatever you're putting out, then I'll look out for it. No, but what I've done, Kuva, interestingly, just to make sure, I see Kuva's comment, just to make sure, what I've interestingly done is I now put my results in the comments. I put my results in the comments all the time now. so you can all see my results. It's the easiest way. Rather than me verbalising them, I just thought, do you know what? Just get them out there. So I put them in now amongst with all your results, because I have a members badge next to my name as well. Because I actually took out a membership on my own channel. How dare I? Chris says that I pick the games that I can investigate to work out the scores. Yeah, because the majority of games are in the Premiership, so I really do the investigative work because we know what the Premiership games are. The only surprise games you get are 3 games, which are the bonus games. And here's Alan. Alan saying hi, in the chat. Hi, Alan. I hope you're well. Look at that. Oh, I reckon OJ's work is running the syndicates that own those leagues. Quick phone call, and bingo, the result is. What's he saying? Colombian, no doubt. That's where the Spanish bit comes from. Says, I'd just third early on. I'm happy with that for now. Um, honestly, if you look at the league table, and I'll bring it up again. Look at the league table. Oh, take that comment away. Look how close that bloody league table is. There's not much in that at all. All right, I've got the updated points. So it's 61, 58, 51, 49, and so on. But when you look at it, people are really, really close by. No one's running away with anything. People are close by. The top 27 or whatever we've got here, 61. What's the next one? 61 and the top 30 on. 61 to 25. There's 36 points that separate 30th, even going down to Paul G on 22. Or Paul G might be on a little bit more than that because I did get to take a point of him. But if you look at the 22 to 61, a 39 points difference. We're in game week 3. So the rule, or the motto is do as Kuva does, right? Save your best for when you go into a bonus international week. And we've got 2 more of them coming up. We're going to have a break. We've actually got more. We're going to have a break in October for internationals. I think there's another break in November for internationals. And then when it comes to FA Cup week, so the 3rd round of the FA Cup or whatever that they do, which is the beginning of January, we don't do Premiership games. We end up doing loads of games again. So you're going to have plenty of chances to go and make points, plenty of chances. And, at the end of the day, it's just remembering to bloody put them in. So don't be like James and Mikey, who this week forgot, Neil, who did half of them and didn't get the second half in. The important thing is if you want to have a chance of winning this, then, you just got to be there and you just make sure you've got to put fixtures in every week. You do that, then you won't be far at all, will you? But saying that, Adrian has just come in. Good evening, Adrian, sir. I hope you are well. Drula says, thanks, Jose. I'm off to bed. Had a long day. Night. Well, good night, Drula. Take care. Sweet dreams. The Oracle, good evening, sir. I hope you're well. Great. More international breaks to watch shit England, says Carl Simpson. I'm not asking you to watch shit England. I'm saying just come and do your predictions. I'll tell you what, and I'll be very honest, the 25 that we did this week, it took it out of me in the sense of I've only just started doing this again, but to get 25 scores in and then to have to do it into 2 shows and then having the people chasing me after the shows putting their scores in one on the Thursday one and then the others putting them all in. But we did get them in and we roll on to Thursday now. There's a lot of work that goes into these international break ones. But anyway, look, people, there are your points. Has anyone got any questions on that? If you're happy with that, then I will call it a night. So that means I haven't kept you long. We've been an hour. I didn't want to keep everyone long, but we've been an hour doing these predictions. So well done, everyone. The change of time, the change of date, Thursday. So in your diary, it'll be Thursday at 5 p.m. I don't know whether the Americans are happy that I'm doing it an hour later and I don't know whether the Aussies are happier that I'm going an hour later. But, you know, at the end of the day, we will be back on Thursday for these predictions. So I shall see you all Thursday at 5 o'clock. 10 Premiership games, 8 are being played on Saturday, 2 are being played on Sunday, because as of next week, for those that have been living under rocks, the European competitions start. So therefore, when the European competitions start, the games will be played on the weekend, apart from teams that are not in Europe, who then have their games later on, and they'll probably put them on as Monday night games and Sunday games and whatever. But this week, all 10 games will be played Saturday and Sunday. There's 8 games in the Premiership on a Saturday, 2 games on a Sunday. What I will say to you guys now before we do the show on Thursday is, it's your opportunity now on Fantasy Premier League to go and look at your teams and do what you need to do before the weekend comes along. So it's time for you. You can have a look at it all now, and don't forget to do your Predict the Prem. Predict the Prem will be back because the Premiership's back, and don't forget to do Predict the Prem. If any of you do Jessie's ones, so she does the Premiership and Championship on Super Brew, don't forget to do Jessie's on Super Brew, and make sure you get your scores in as well. And Daz, whatever Daz is doing, if Daz puts it out so we can all take part, then I'm sure that we'll all take part on that. But anyway, without further ado, thank you very much for watching. I shall see you all Thursday. Take care of yourselves. Good night and have a good week. And come on, you Spurs.
Tell, Cockerel, he's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tell, Cockerel, leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel, Jose gets himself around. Always talking Spurs, wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky, knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel, he's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chilled. Your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel. Goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel, the show is so chill. Your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at.